G'day there everyone, Daniel Anderson here. Welcome to this masterclass. Now, first of all, what are you going to get out of this masterclass? Well, you're going to take a behind the scenes look at how we would go through the process of moving from a traditional folder structure on a file server into SharePoint and use SharePoint functionality and features to really take advantage of the platform moving forward. Now, just a little bit of context. We're going to be taking a look at a structure similar to this. So it's all around projects and making sure that we can structure a SharePoint environment to really enhance the way that we manage our project documentation. Now, from this structure here, we can see that we've got a top folder of projects. We've then segmented the next level down by year, then by department, then by project name, and then we've also got stages of a particular project as well. So this is the structure with a current organization that I'm working with. We've moved their folder, created a folder structure on premise on their file server, and started to structure and move content on the file server, first of all, into this structure to give us an easier way and an easier migration path. But we're going to set this up into SharePoint and utilize content types and metadata and specifically document sets here to give us that structure in SharePoint. So we can see here that I'm on an out-of-the-box SharePoint team site. So the first thing that we are going to do is because we're going to be using document sets, we need to activate the document set feature because it's not enabled by default. So we're going to go to site information. We're going to go to view all site settings. Now, part of the site settings here is that we've got a site collection features section, all right, settings here. Now we need to activate this site collection feature called document sets to actually be able to start to use them. So we're going to do that first. So now we've got our document set feature enabled and we can start to utilize it. We're going to build a content type based on that document set out of the box content type. So I'm going to go back to our projects site. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new document library. So I'll go new document library and we'll just create a blank document library. We'll call this projects. We'll call it project documents like so. We're going to leave it and we're going to show it on the site navigation. So now we've got a nice clean document library for this process. Now, let's create our first content type. And we're going to create a project content type. So from our site settings, we're going to go to site information. We're going to go to view all site settings. Now, under the web designer galleries section here of our site, we can see that we've got site content types. Now, this is going to be contained to this particular site and this site only. Okay, so we're creating this and it's contained in this site. So I'm going to create a content type and we're going to call this project. We're going to create a new category and I'll call this one Copilot Studio Content Types. And we're going to group all of our content types, any additional ones, into this category. Now, we need to choose a parent because a content type always has to have a parent. Now, there are a number of out-of-the-box SharePoint content types that are available and everything is based on those. So I am going to go to document set content types and I'm going to use the out-of-the-box default document set content type as the parent. So now we've got our custom content type created. Okay, and it's called project. We can see the details. Down the bottom here, we can see that we've got our site columns. So by default, a document set comes with title, name, and description. So we don't need to add those. But what we do want to do, if we go back to our structure here, we can see that we've got year, department, and then also a project stage as well. So if we go and create a new site column, I'm going to create a new site column called year. I'll call this one project year. And it's going to be, we'll create a new category. We'll call it Copilot Studio columns. and we will need to choose the type of column that it is. Now, I'm going to choose a choice column here, and we're going to go 2023, 2024 as our options. So we would just add these and as many options as we would need to going back. And then also when a new year comes, we would just add the new year. So we've got two choices here and we will hit save. So now we've got the project year. Now we also need the department. So I'm going to say Copilot Studio Department as the column name. And again, I'm going to now use the category that we just created called Copilot Studio Columns. And again, I'm going to choose a choice column and we're going to name and list our categories. And human resources, we'll go IT, we'll go finance, and we'll go legal. And we'll leave it at those 4 and we'll hit save. So now we're starting to structure our content type. So we've got project year and we've got department. Now, if we go back to our example, we now also need to have the project stage. All right. So I'm going to add a site column. I'll go create new site column. We'll go project stage. And again, I'm just going to use the category and we'll use a choice column. And let's have a look at what stages we've got. So we've got planning, execution, and review. So I'll pop back. We'll go planning, execution, and review. Now, what you will notice is that different departments had different project stages. So a couple of options here. We could formalize each project stage across the organization, which is a good approach, or we could just have each option here available for everybody to use. So what this organization wanted to do, they wanted to have a more standardized approach. So we got together and we organized and we spoke about and documented the stages of each project that made sense and were general enough across the entire organization. And we landed with planning, execution, and review. Okay, so we're going to stay with these stages, and I'm going to add a last stage in here called closed. Okay, and we will hit save. Now, the other thing, addition here, because we can now start to think about using additional functionality, I'm going to add 2 more columns. Actually, I'm going to add 3 more columns. So I'm going to go for project manager as another column. And again, this time I'm going to choose a person or group. All right. And we'll show profile pictures and we'll hit save. So now we can assign a project manager. Another thing, another 2 columns, we're going to say project start date. And this time we're going to choose a date. We'll add it to the category and we'll choose a date and time column. The last one we're going to add is a project completion date. Project completion date. Again, I'm going to choose our category and I will choose again our date and time column and we'll hit save. So now what we've got is our own custom content type called project. It's a document set. It's based on the out of the box SharePoint document set that is a system one. So now we need to add this content type to our library. So I'm going to go back to our projects site here and I'm going to go to project documents. So we can see we've got a default document library. I'll go to the new button and you can see that I've got all of the out of the box default content types available to me. So what I want to do is I want to add a content type. So I'll go to add a column. I'll scroll down to add a content type and I'll click next. Now, this is going to give me the ability to add any content type that is available, any custom content type that's available at this level. Remembering, I've just created a site content type here. So you can see that I've got a project content type. Now you'll also see that there's another additional content type available to me. Now this has been created in what's called the content type hub, and this lives at the tenant level. So any content type that's made or created at that level in the SharePoint Admin Center means that any SharePoint site across your organization can then consume that, and it can be added to a library. So I am going to select project and I'll hit apply. Now that's adding this content type to this library, but only this library. So now when I go to new, you can see that those out of the box content types have disappeared. And now I've got the ability to create a new project. But I've also got a document content type here and also a folder. So what I want to do is I want to remove, get out of the mindset of creating folders in this document library. So I am going to go to our library settings. I'm going to go to more library settings. And then from the more library settings, I'm going to go to advanced, because what we can do is we can turn off the creation of folders. So I want to use and move forward to a metadata approach as opposed to a folder structure. So I want to make a new folder. I want to turn that off. So I'm going to scroll down. I'll flick that to off and I'll click OK. And there we go. So if I now go back to project documents and I'll go to new, you'll see that that folder, the ability to create a folder now is not there. I still have this document though. So we are now going to create a second content type called project document. And I want to use that as the document content type for all of our project documents this time. So I'm going to go up to the site information. I'm going to go to view all site settings. I'm going to create another content type this time, not a document set, but a document. So I'll click create content type. And I'll call this one project document. I'm going to use our existing category called Copilot Studio content types. The parent this time is going to be from the document category, and it's going to be a document. And I'll click create. There we go. There is our project document content type. Okay. I'm just going to leave it there for this content type though. We could add additional metadata that is specific to project documents and the types of documents or things like that. But for this example, we're just going to leave it as this content type. So this time I'm going to go and add to my project documents. I'm now going to add this content type as well. So I'm going to go add content type. I'll click next. And now what we'll have is that document content type that will be available to me, project document, and I'll hit apply. So now that is being added as well. And from the new menu, you can see that I've got these three. But I want to remove the document content type because I want everything in this document library to be using this project document content type. So I'm going to go to library settings. I'm going to go more library settings. And then from the content type section here, I'm going to actually delete or remove this out of the box document content type here. And I'll go delete and I'll click OK. So that means that now all the documents that get uploaded or added to our library will be of that content type. But we need to, we can see here that we've got visible, we've got our default content type of project document, and we've also got our project document set. So if I go back here, you can see now I've got new project or new project document. So let's now go ahead and create a new project. So we'll create a project. Let's just use an example from our list here. So we'll go to, let's go marketing, and we'll create a project called Campaign A. So here's the name of the project. I've got the project year. I've got the department, which we don't have marketing, but let's go human resources. Okay. We've got the project stage. We're in the planning stage. We've got a project manager of Alex. The start date is going to be on the 30th, and we'll hit, now we don't have a completion date because it hasn't closed yet. So we're going to hit save. So that now has created a new project. If I go back to the library, we can see that we've got our project documents, our project that's just been created, but we can't see any of that additional metadata that we've got. So let's fix that. So we're going to go add a column. We'll go show or hide columns. Now we can see that we've got year, we've got department, we've got stage, we've got manager, start date, and completion date. I don't really want to worry about modified and modified by, so we'll just hit apply. So now you can see that we've got our metadata that's been added to our project. Okay, let's create another one. So we'll go project. This time we'll create a new, let's have a look. We'll create a new IT project for our system upgrade. So we'll flick back here. We'll go system upgrade. We'll go our project year of 2024, IT, stage is in execution. We've got Nesta as our project manager for this. We'll go project start date is the 12th. Actually, we'll put this previously. So we'll go, this was started on that date. We'll say it was finished yesterday, and let's change it from execution to closed, and we'll hit save. So now we've got two projects in our projects library. So we've got campaign A, campaign and system upgrade. What this allows us to do now with the metadata approach, we can now also create our views, we can filter, we can sort. So on a project stage, we can say, let's just filter by any project that is in the planning stage, for example. So here, this will list all the projects that are in that particular stage. So let's clear all these, but it also allows us to create views. So I can now create and you'll notice that because we've got two content types, it automatically creates these views for us. All right. So we've got project and new project document. That will then only give us a listing of the details of that particular content type. So we'll go to all documents, but this time I'm going to create a new view. So I'm going to create a new view called IT projects. We'll make it publicly available. Now you can see it's been changed up the top right-hand corner. Now I only want to show IT projects. So here I want to filter by IT. I'll hit apply. You can see I've got a little asterisk here. I'm going to save this view as IT projects. And now I've got three views. So I've got all documents, which is everything. I've got IT projects. And then I've also got project. Now what you'll see is if I go to project document, that's going to be empty because we don't have any. And then I can just create my views as I need to. So you can see there the advantages of using content types and a metadata and the thought process here. We've just added a little bit of extra functionality here. Now, in addition to that, because we've got some date columns here, we can actually set reminders based on our dates. So we can say, for example, let's set a reminder based on the date of the start date, or we can now create some rules. So if we went ahead now and created a rule that is when a project changes stage, for example. So if we say rule, create a rule, and then you can, when data in a column changes, so when choose a column, we want to say when project changes to, I want to choose closed, send an email to the project manager, and I'll hit create. So now what that's going to do is an automated process. When the project gets closed, the project manager will automatically get an email notification to notify them. All right. So there we go. Changing the thought process from a file or a folder structure into SharePoint adding some functionality here to utilize content types and metadata that then also adds some functionality so that you can start to improve your processes, improve the way people access documents, and just make it a lot easier for people to find what they're looking for. So I hope you enjoyed this masterclass. Hope you got some value out of it. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.